All right. My first question is for both of you, because I know you did a sailing boot camp for this movie. And David, I know you had a little experience, so you had an advantage in that department. But for both of you, of all the skills you learned during that boot camp, what came most naturally to you? But then I want the opposite, the part of that boot camp that was the most challenging for you to pick up on.
For me, because I did have an experience, I was a professional fisherman when I was in my early 20s in Alaska. And the thing that came easily to me, which surprises me because I'm from the farm country of Kansas, was that my sea legs came on quickly. Like I was able to always keep my balance pretty well on a ship, no matter how it was pitching. And that's really useful, especially when you're trying to work under rugged circumstances. You're trying to go. The thing that was always the most challenging for me, and it has been since I was a little boy, from scouts all the way to today, I can barely tie my shoes, let alone tie a good knot. And I was watching the rest of my cast as we were doing sailing training, just throwing these knots together. Liam, you were good at it. Chris was good at it. Corey was good at it. And there I was like, I don't know. There's something I just don't get.
Yeah, it's a funny one. We were in Rostock on this gorgeous boat with all the ropes and sails and all that sort of thing. And I think David's been too kind to me. I had a bit of trouble with that little yellow rope we were trying to do these knots with. But I was asked by the instructors, do you want to go up and start pulling the sails up? And that sounded a bit too much like work to me. And I went, nah, he wouldn't do it. He's the captain. He doesn't pull ropes. And they had no argument against that. So I sat back with a small glass of white wine and watched my fellow cast members getting blisters on their hands while they were throwing themselves into doing this. I'm no fool.
You're the smartest actor I've ever worked with.
Hey, it serves your character well. I say go for it. I know you both have worked on pretty substantial sets before, but is there anything that you did on the Demeter that just wowed you in terms of what they were actually capturing in camera versus things you would expect them to be accomplishing in post via VFX?
Yes, wonderfully. For instance, our wonderful performer, our wonderful Dracula, Javier. A lot of times you've got, in a lot of movies now, because of the advancements of computers and AI and all that sort of stuff, you can have a guy dressed like a mime with little dots all over him. And you're to imagine this horrific beast. We had this incredible performer arrive on set, everybody expecting him because he was going to be arriving for suit tests and lighting tests, fully done up. And when I eventually got to see him, I was actually scared when I saw him. I went, that is absolutely horrific. Some of the other cast members, including some of the crew, were saying, I can't even look at him. When you've got that attention to detail, and when you've got a production design like we have with those dark muted colors, all that gothic stuff, it's a painting. A horror film of this thing is a painting. Everything has to come together. And when we have this beautiful music on top of it, you really do feel part of a movie, of cinema, not just getting your character right and pleasing the director and all that sort of stuff. You felt part of the large, and that's incredibly satisfying as an actor.
There's a moment when we're making the film. We were in Malta, which is where we did the exterior boat shots, and there's this fantastic Norwegian actor, Martin Furland, who plays Larsen, who's supposed to be manning the ship in Night Watch, and he's supposed to be at the wheel. And we hit this crazy storm in the script, and it's a massive storm, torrential rain, lightning flashing and crashing, and water waves crashing over the side of the boat, and Larsen's nowhere to be seen. Of course, poor Larsen has been one of the first people to meet our dear Dracula. But the rest of us come running up to the deck of the ship in the midst of this storm, and there they were with, rain machines and water cannons blasting us and lighting effects to create the lightning. And it was so cool to feel like what the magic of movies can accomplish. And yes, we know it's all make-believe, and we're sitting there and you see the machinery and the amazing crew and the riggers and the people running the crazy fans, but you get lost in it. And you feel like a kid, there's no limits to your imagination when you're given that kind of a support system.
I'll always use an extra opportunity to shout out Javier Botet, because he is a legend and everybody in this business should know his name. The one somewhat silly question for both of you. So let's say you, as in real you, You suspect that Dracula is hunting you. Who is someone in your real life that you go and tell that will actually believe you and help you fight Dracula?
Oh, I'd set my wife on him immediately. She's fearsome. And she'd probably take him out, or she'd give him a really hard time. A lot of respect for that lady. Anybody else? Nah, she's top of the list.
I feel like that's the right answer.
Yeah, my wife would say, "Good luck." No, I've got a 6-year-old daughter named Penelope, but we call her Penny, and she is a force of nature who I feel would absolutely go and she would hunt Dracula down with me. And then my son Arlo, he's got the mind for helping me come up with the strategy for how we would trap and kill him. But they would believe me. Everybody else would say, "Oh, David's finally cracked," or they'd say maybe he's cracked yet again. But whatever. Perfect
answers. I couldn't imagine better picks for that question. Liam, you'll get my one future project question this time around because I have 3 Body Problem on the brain because they did just release the trailer for that. So having worked with Benioff and Weiss, of course, on Game of Thrones, what do you think made the two of them particularly well suited to also lead that adaptation of a very popular book series?
Ooh, listen, it's always the quality of the writing. And these guys, it's some of the best writing I've ever come across in my life. And this is also saying I spent 1.5 years at the Royal Shakespeare Company. I've done Shakespeare on stage. These boys are absolutely extraordinary. The words they put in an actor's mouth. And then to go with this. And David's an enormous fan of the books. I haven't even read the books. I didn't read the Game of Thrones books either. He knows a lot more about it than I do. And I'm in it.
That's a raw deal. I got screwed, Liam. What the heck, man? No one called me to be in 3 Body Problem. Come
it's
on.
True. Life's not fair, David. Life ain't fair. I was, to tell you the truth, I haven't told anybody else. I was in serious talks for another project. And obviously the boys found out about it. And I got a phone call from the 2 guys, from David and Dan. It just said, you're not doing that. You're coming with us. And I just went, I didn't even know what the project was. And I just said, yeah, okay, I'll tell the other crowd now. It could have been a day's work on the other thing. But when those 2 call, you run to the clarion call.
I like hearing that. And David, don't worry, you're mighty busy this year. You can't, I don't think you could cram in more films than you already have. Congratulations to you both on everything you've accomplished on this film in particular right now. And I appreciate your time today.
Lovely talking to you. Thank you.